Have you ever felt the fracture lines in your resolve, where the hand extended in kindness becomes a mirror to your deepest frailties, much like those quiet betrayals in life when support feels like surrender, echoing the fragile truces of history's unsung heroes who leaned on unlikely allies amid crumbling empires? Or perhaps you've chased the echo of encouragement that tastes like bitter medicine, a balm that heals yet exposes the wounds you've hidden, drawing you into a duet of dependence and dread. Envision the sharp sting of chalk dust in a sunlit classroom, voices layering into a hesitant chorus that hums with unspoken strain, the air laced with the faint, metallic bite of anxiety sweating from palms clasped tight. Let's Go Karaoke. Episode 3 isn't merely a chapter, it's a shadowed invocation, a fading ember igniting the forgotten fires of your own vulnerabilities, a dreamlike refrain that you've hummed in moments of doubt, akin to the heartfelt underdog tales of 80s and 90s anime like Captain Tsubasa or Hikaru no Go, where bonds forged in trial reshaped destinies. Remember those pulse-quickening arcs where mentorship blurred into mutual salvation, stirring the marrow of your youth with symphonies of struggle and subtle triumph? This episode doesn't echo them faintly. It resurrects their essence as a throbbing vein in the storm, demanding your surrender to its raw cadence. As if you're there, voice cracking, wondering if leaning on another is strength or defeat. What scar in your heart would you reveal for a harmony that might shatter you? In this universe, where the harmonious echoes of a school choir room collide with the gritty haze of Yakuza territories. Released on August 7, 2025, Satomi Oka grapples with a voice fraying at the edges, his fingers tracing sheet music like a map to lost confidence, haunted by the ghost of expectations that weigh heavier than any metal, reminiscent of young prodigies in historical lore who faltered under the gaze of mentors and masses. Kyuji Narita, etched with the burdens of his inked oaths, navigates a world where every note coached hides the sting of impending judgment, his smirk a fragile shield against the storm brewing within. Enter Wada, a classmate whose earnest gaze carries the unspoken ache of admiration, offering a hand that pulls yet unnerves, much like the loyal sidekicks in epic sagas who force heroes to confront their solitude. Shun Hori's timbre for Satomi trembles with a soul-deep fragility, each syllable cracking like ice underfoot in your own moments of exposure, while Daisuke Ono's Kyuji infuses a layered resolve, his voice a rumbling undercurrent that echoes the controlled fury of legendary rogues. Picture the classroom's warm light filtering through windows, the faint scent of polished wood mingling with nervous breaths. Don't Satomi's averted eyes mirror your own hesitations before accepting aid, and Narita's steady presence evoke that rush of relying on the perilous? In this superb orchestration around the central vortex of vulnerability and alliance, their paths entwine like vines in a tangled garden. When have you allowed another's strength to redefine your weaknesses, heart racing in the balance? Deeper, the episode unearths the raw underbelly of dependence, where self-doubt claws like thorns in a garden of false assurances, much like the philosophical quandaries of ancient Stoics or modern tales of fractured identities, questioning if true freedom blooms from isolation or intertwined fates. Satomi's unvoiced turmoil, a storm raging behind clenched fists, whispers of the loneliness that devours when pride bars the door to support. Haven't we all stood at that precipice, fearing the fall into another's care tastes like defeat? Narita's quiet revelations, laced with the weight of unspoken sacrifices, compel you to ponder. What freedoms do we forfeit in the name of bonds, when every gesture of help carries the aftertaste of obligation? These silent battles wrap around you like a fog in the dim streets, urging reflection on the identities we've armored against the world, leaving you to question the costs etched in your own hidden histories. Doga Kobo's animation unfolds as a feverish vision, extreme close-ups capturing the quiver of lips mid-note, drawing you into Satomi's turmoil as if your own breath hitches, while shadows in the Yakuza districts slither like wary sentinels, foreshadowing perils that lurk in every alley's gloom. Reds bleed across the screen like heated blood, pulsing with the fire of inner chaos against cooler blues of hesitation, evoking the dramatic palettes of classic noir where emotion stains the canvas. The texture, gritty in motion's frantic scrambles yet fluid in choral swells, feels like a lived pulse. Doesn't this dance of stillness, a pregnant hush before vocal breaks, and sudden bursts remind you of life's own suspended breaths before revelation, pulling you into the frame where light and dark wage war on your senses? Some murmur that the drama simmers too subtly, resolutions arriving like fleeting whispers. Yet, this restrained build is no shortfall, but a deliberate tapestry, weaving emotional threads that linger and deepen, transforming quiet moments into resonant echoes that explosive plots could never sustain. The flame of subtlety often flickers low. We must cease labeling introspective arcs as outdated. Some view character-focused tales as relics, so it's challenging to accept this episode elevates them with profound intimacy, yet this episode elevates them with profound intimacy. So it's challenging to accept character-focused tales as relics, complex, some view introspective arcs as outdated. We must cease labeling the flame of subtlety often flickers low. The soundtrack lingers as a spectral guide. Choral practices swelling with tentative hope that elevates the mundane to poignant. Narita's strained melodies disturbing like a physical echo of regret, while solitary notes hang in silence, a vacuum amplifying the intimacy of doubt, akin to the haunting scores in historical dramas that underscored inner rebellions. Standout motifs, like the discordant hum during confrontations, wrap around your chest. Haven't you known a tune that haunts your thoughts, blending fragility with fervor, much like these layers that pull you into the room, replaying your own symphonies of uncertainty? And then, the convergence erupts, a maelstrom of destinies clashing in a haze of tears and turmoil, a quiet unraveling that redefines fragility into shattering clarity, leaving the night air thick with the scent of regret and revelation. It mirrors history's pivotal fractures, from whispered confessions in shadowed courts to modern breakdowns that alter paths. What essence of vulnerability is laid bare in that suspended cry, carving a question into your core that demands you face the narrative's heart? Not every refrain pleads for an audience. Some grip your throat, insisting you complete the verse, to immerse in Let's Go Karaoke, Episode 3, until its echoes resonate in your bones. Are you prepared to venture into the fray, to let its harmonies expose your guarded fractures, and unearth if salvation sings through the peril of connection, or leaves you forever changed on the edge? Have you ever stood on the edge of a truth so sharp it could carve your very soul, where the weight of a single choice feels like the final note of a song you'll never sing again, much like those fleeting moments in life when courage and consequence collide, echoing the desperate stands of history's unsung rebels who faced fate with trembling hands? Or perhaps you've craved a melody that stitches together the fragments of your fears, a harmony born from the ashes of defiance, whispering promises you're afraid to believe. Imagine the flicker of a neon sign casting jagged shadows across a karaoke lounge, the air thick with the stale tang of cigarette smoke and the raw pulse of anticipation, each breath a silent prayer against the looming specter of failure. Let's Go Karaoke. Episode 4 isn't just a chapter, it's a siren's call, a fractured reflection of your own unspoken battles, a half-remembered hymn that thrums in the quiet corners of your heart, reminiscent of the raw, soul-stirring narratives of 90s anime like Neon Genesis Evangelion or Rurouni Kenshin, where every step toward redemption was a dance with ruin. Remember those electric nights when stories of sacrifice and unlikely bonds set your spirit ablaze, their echoes lingering like a first love's touch? This episode doesn't merely revisit that fire, it fans it into a roaring inferno, demanding you step into its heat, heart racing, as if you're gripping the mic, teetering between salvation and surrender. What truth in your own life would you risk everything to sing aloud? In this universe, where the sterile glow of a school auditorium frays against the shadowed pulse of Yakuza strongholds. Released on August 14, 2025, Satomi Oka stands with a voice stretched thin, each note a fragile thread woven from dreams he fears are unraveling, his trembling hands clutching a microphone like a lifeline, much like the young warriors of ancient tales who faced trials with hearts too heavy for their years. Kyuji Narita, draped in the weight of his inked vows, carries a gaze that burns with unspoken ultimatums, his every word a blade balanced between mentor and menace, evoking the rogue heroes of lore who walked the line between honor and havoc. Wada, the earnest classmate, emerges with a quiet resolve that masks a storm of loyalty, his presence a steady hand in the chaos, like the steadfast companions in epic sagas who anchor the lost. Shun Hori's Satomi delivers a voice that cracks with the raw ache of youth, each quiver echoing your own moments of faltering resolve, while Daisuke Ono's Kyuji weaves a seductive menace, his timbre a low rumble that slices through the air, reminiscent of anime's most magnetic anti-heroes. Feel the auditorium's cool air prickling your skin, the faint hum of the mixed feedback buzzing in your ears. Don't Satomi's hesitant steps mirror your own dances with doubt, and Narita's shadowed intensity stir the thrill of defying fate? Their paths converge in a superb orchestration around the central crucible of choice and consequence, pulling you into their orbit. When have you faced a moment where one decision could rewrite your story? The episode plunges into the raw nerve of sacrifice, where every choice is a wound, and every gain a loss, much like the philosophical thorns of ancient martyrs or modern tales of fractured fates, forcing you to confront the cost of standing tall. Satomi's silent screams, battling a voice that betrays his heart, echo the loneliness of those moments when you've stood alone, questioning if courage is just another name for pain. Haven't we all tasted that bitter isolation? Narita's dance with duty, where each lesson he imparts carries the sting of inevitable reckoning, pushes you to ask, what would you surrender for a cause greater than yourself, when every note feels like a drop of blood spilled on a silent stage? These unvoiced battles wrap around you like a tightening noose, urging you to ponder the sacrifices etched into your own shadowed pasts. Doga Kobo's animation is a visceral hymn, where low angles amplify Narita's towering presence, making you feel as if you're shrinking beneath his gaze, while sudden close-ups on Satomi's eyes wide, glistening, pull you into his trembling soul, as if you're breathing his fear. Shadows twist like restless spirits, curling around corners to foreshadow unseen threats, while the color palette, fiery oranges clashing with cold grays, burns with the tension of defiance against despair, evoking the stark contrasts of classic samurai films where light and dark wage war. The animation's texture, sharp in moments of confrontation yet fluid in choral crescendos, feels like a heartbeat racing toward collapse. Doesn't this interplay of motion and stillness mirror your own life's pauses before cataclysm, drawing you into a world where every frame pulses with consequence? Some murmur the episode's focus on internal struggles risks overshadowing action, a quiet simmer where spectacle could soar. Yet, this introspective pulse is no weakness, but a masterstroke, letting the weight of each choice sink into your marrow, transforming stillness into a storm of emotion that frenetic battles could never match. The flame of character-driven tales flickers low. We must stop deeming quiet arcs outdated. Some call introspective narratives relics, so it's hard to fathom this episode redefines them with searing depth, yet this episode redefines them with searing depth, so it's hard to fathom introspective narratives relics. Some call quiet arcs outdated. We must stop deeming the flame of character-driven tales flickers low. The soundtrack is a living specter, its karaoke strains weaving a tapestry of defiance and despair. Narita's gravelly notes strike like a fist, raw and unyielding, while Satomi's tentative melodies hum with fragile hope, echoing the operatic swells of historical epics that scored the fall of empires. Moments of silence, heavy as a held breath, amplify the stakes, pulling you into the booth's echo where every lyric feels like a confession. Haven't you known a song that rips through your defenses, much like these tracks that blend fervor with fragility, urging you to replay your own moments of reckoning? Then comes the crucible, a collision of choices that shatters the fragile equilibrium, a flash of clarity so piercing it redefines everything, leaving the air thick with the scent of ash and ambition. It's a moment that feels like history's turning points, from whispered betrayals in royal courts to modern crossroads where futures hang in the balance. What truth burns in that fleeting exchange, and what question does it etch into your soul, demanding you face the cost of defiance? Not every song begs to be heard. Some seize your very pulse, insisting you join the chorus. To live, let's go karaoke. Episode 4, Until Its Truths Burn in Your Bones. Are you ready to step onto the stage, to let its melodies unravel your guarded heart, and discover if courage can sing louder than consequence, or leave you forever altered in its wake?